Shotgun with Charlie.
Riding shotgun refers to the practice of sitting next to the driver in a moving vehicle. The term riding shotgun came around after the time of the stagecoach, when somebody used to sit next to the driver holding a shotgun, in case they ran into bandits. My name is Charlie Cook, and I drive a lot. I like to talk to people while I'm driving, so I interview people in my car while I'm driving. Welcome to Riding Shotgun with Charlie.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this episode of Riding Shotgun with Charlie. This is another show that we are doing from the SHOT Show in Las Vegas 2020. And I have with me, oh my God, I practiced your name, Mike Oxner. He is with the Dry Fire
Training Coach.
Dry Fire Training Coach.
But that's why I go by Ox, is because nobody can pronounce or spell my last name.
Nobody can pronounce it. Right, it's hooked on phonics. Anyway, thank you for being on the show.
Yeah, thank you, Charlie.
Let's drive around. Let's talk about you. We'll buy these cabs. We'll talk about you. We'll talk about how you got into gun stuff. We'll cut these guys off. What do you think? Sound like fun?
Sounds like a plan.
All right, very cool. Have you been to the SHOT Show before?
Yeah, I don't even know how many times I've been.
Gotcha.
Several. I think I'm going to survive this one.
Without getting the crud?
Yeah.
I went once, didn't get the crud. I think I'm impervious to getting sick, but that's just me. Anyway, who cares? Let's talk about you. You're an instructor. You came up with this idea. How did you get into gun stuff?
Been shooting since I was a kid. Early as I can remember, early as my parents can remember.
Yeah?
And then got serious about self-defense probably 15 years ago.
Cool. Where are you from?
In Nebraska.
Nebraska. Okay. I was going to say he sounds southern, but not from the south.
Well, I spent 13 years in San Antonio.
Maybe that's what it is.
So, yeah, I'm a mutt. From all over the place.
That's all right, man. Nothing wrong with that. So, shooting since you're a kid?
Yeah. One year we planted a shelter belt around our house, and the rabbits were eating our trees, our brand new trees, and so I had to go out and shoot a rabbit every day before I came in and played and watched Star Trek on TV.
That's funny. You got to shoot a rabbit before you can come in the house.
Yep.
That's awesome. Did you eat the rabbits? Please say yes. Good answer.
Yeah, I love rabbit.
Oh, that's awesome.
They're awesome.
That's cool, man.
But, and then, so kind of had two worlds collide. I did no holds barred fighting in college, and that's not where I got my concussions.
Yeah, this guy's telling me he's got like 20 concussions.
But that, amazingly enough, I didn't get bad ones doing that. Just little ones.
What? Just little ones? How big does it have to be a big concussion?
Yeah. So, I had the opportunity to work with some Olympic coaches on mental imagery and basically visualization. And then when I was doing fighting, I had to figure out, okay, how do I control my adrenal response? How do I get up for multiple fights in one day?
Yeah.
And how do I drop back down to a relaxed, calm state as quickly as possible? And the biggest thing was, how do I not burn up all of my juice before my first fight?
Right.
In anticipation. So I had to figure out state control and how to modulate where I was at.
Yeah.
And fast forward, after the 2008 collapse, was basically on the verge of bankruptcy because I was a real estate investor, and I knew I needed to keep shooting, and so I kind of combined all these things and created a dry fire training curriculum for myself. And very, very quickly, within a few weeks, I'd improved more than I had in the last decade.
Wow. All right, so before you did this, were you an instructor before you had the dry fire?
No, I wasn't.
No, okay. So I wasn't sure if you were an instructor and said, hey, this would be cool to make for students.
No, I wasn't at that time.
Okay. So you're doing the dry fire.
So yeah, I made a dry fire curriculum using airsoft and traditional dry fire and mental imagery. And got great results, and started sharing it with instructors that I knew, military instructors, law enforcement instructors, civilian instructors, and they started getting the same results. And
Wow.
I was like, I
Could
think
be
I
onto
got
something.
Yeah, I think I might want to do something with this.
Right.
And that became a book that I co-authored called Tactical Firearms Training Secrets. And then people wanted drills. They didn't want to know all the science behind it.
They don't want to read the book.
They didn't want
to read the book.
Yeah, they wanted to own the book, but not read the book.
Right. Is there pictures in the book? How many pictures do we have?
And it was kind of neat. Dustin Ellerman, the guy that won season 3 of Top Shot, he's on the cover, and he demonstrates stuff throughout the book. And,
Wow. That's cool.
Met up with him and got in touch with him, and was like, "Hey, you wanna be the face of this?"
That's awesome.
And so yeah, that was pretty cool. So yeah, people wanted drills. So went back out to different instructors. Larry Yatch, a Team 3 SEAL guy. Randy Watt, who he was commander of the 19th Special Forces Group.
Wow.
Rob Pincus from ICE and USCCA. Let's see, who else? Matt Siebert from Insight, Mike Hughes from CERT, and Chris Graham, Force Recon Marine. So they all contributed drills into it, and I made dry fire training cards.
Very cool.
And they've been, we're up to about 100,000 of those that we've sold.
Dude, that's incredible, man.
So we've been able to help a lot of people with them. And then things just kind of snowballed from there. Did dry fire fit, did a few courses with Larry Yatch, the Concealed Carry Masters course, and one with Chris Graham, 30-10 pistol. And then kind of during that time, I started having vertigo. And I got vertigo almost every night for 3.5 years.
Oh my God.
And did not want to take the drugs that I was told I needed to take.
Right.
So I did a big deep dive into neurology and figured out how to basically compensate for the problems I was having and not have vertigo, and be able to run and gun and shoot in IDPA National Championships while I was doing drills between stages to not be dizzy. And so that was kind of a very pivotal point. Figured out I had it's a genetic thing that about 60% of the population has, where they don't.
60%?
Yeah, to one degree or another.
Wow.
Where they don't metabolize vitamin B correctly, or vitamin B12 specifically.
Yeah.
Took another form of vitamin B12, and boom, everything came back online.
Wow.
Brain fog went away, memory came back online, all sorts of stuff came back online. And then I figured out that the drills that I'd been doing just to try and function also served as really good performance enhancers for shooting.
Really?
Vision training, balance training,
Yeah.
hand-eye coordination training, improved reflexes, improved the speed that I was able to acquire my front sights.
Holy moly.
Reduced visual confusion when I was shooting with both eyes open, and started using it with students, and had just ridiculous immediate results. And so one of the stupid human tricks I do at classes is I'll have shooters get warmed up and shoot a course of fire, and then I'll have them do 3 to 5 minutes of just basic vision and balance drills, and nothing crazy, nothing very involved. And then I have them shoot the drill again, shoot the standard again.
Yeah.
They haven't changed their technique, they haven't changed their weapon. I haven't touched anything that they're doing with the gun.
Right.
Over 1,000 shooters, the average improvement is 20%.
Wow.
So we're
That's
talking
pretty amazing.
a way quicker improvement than what you can get with basically any other method. Running full speed time A to full speed time B.
Wow. That's pretty incredible, man.
It's been fun. It's been a lot of fun.
That is cool. I remember when I got into when I get into shooting stuff, I don't know what it is, but I liked reading all the old books. So I'm like, wow, the old guys know what they were doing, right? So I found this book that Jeff Cooper wrote. And it was the Modern Handbook of Pistolcraft or something like this. I always screw the title up. But it had a training program in it, and it said if you dry fire for 10 minutes, and Jeff Cooper's advice was to shoot a light switch. So if you shoot a light switch, do that for 10 minutes. I don't know if it was 10 minutes or 10 times a day, with nice, perfect sight alignment, perfect trigger squeeze. Don't move the sights. If you do that 6 days a week, and once a week went out for an hour, and started shooting 3-inch circles at 7 feet, and then 10 feet, and 12, and 15, and keep moving back to 50 feet. He said, if you do this for 6 months, then you will be better than 95% of the people at the shooting range.
Yeah.
So I read this, and I'm thinking, what does Jeff Cooper know? You know what I mean? There's got to be a faster way to do this. Which, of course, I never, like 6 years into shooting, I'm like, maybe I should go back and look at that 6-month plan, because it's been 6 years and I haven't really seen any improvements. Wow. So your stuff works fast, like bam.
Well, there's two different aspects to it. One is remedial.
Yeah.
Which that's what that is. Most people, because of lifestyle, as an example, if you're looking at a computer screen the majority of the day, you're used to having your eyes in alignment with your head in alignment with your body, or if your monitor's off to the side, you're used to the same orientation all the time. Not used to flicking your eyes hard off to the side for transitioning between targets or observing and identifying a threat. So part of it is taking care of deficiencies in the visual system, getting the eyes to see more accurately, getting them to work together so that they're pointed at the same point in space, and the point in space where you want them to be pointed. And the same thing with balance, is improving balance, getting the vestibular and proprioceptive systems to say that the same direction is straight ahead that your eyes are saying.
Right.
What'll happen very, very often, and a drill that I do with people is I have them, I'll point at that camera, I have them look at something and point at it, and look at it and point at it, and look at it and point at it, and then shut their eyes and do it, and then open their eyes and see if their systems are calibrated and synchronized.
Are they?
The majority of the time they're not.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And so you do a few exercises to calibrate and synchronize your visual, vestibular, and proprioceptive systems. And basically what those are: visual system's eyes, vestibular system is balance, and proprioceptive is hand-eye coordination.
This is interesting.
And so, well, you think about it, if your hand-eye coordination says that 1 o'clock is straight ahead, and your eyes say that 12 o'clock is straight ahead, you're going to have a lag when you
It's going to be about 12:30, 12:25.
Yeah, it's gonna introduce a delay into your draw stroke.
Wow.
Or a miss if you don't have time to acquire your sights. And so just making a dozen or so little tweaks like that adds up, and you end up with some pretty big changes in performance.
That's really cool. So these things really do work.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's amazing. That's cool.
And then from there, there's if you want to learn a new skill, you look at the traditional training model. You go to a 1, 2, 3, however many day class. What that's doing is that's putting information into the hippocampus. And
what's the hippocampus?
Yeah, I won't get into too much, but so the hippocampus is tied to the amygdala.
The amygdala is the little almond-sized thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
That well, it's smaller than that, more like a lima bean.
Okay, lima bean. I knew it was something.
And when you come under stress, the blood and glucose goes from the hippocampus all into the amygdala. And so that means that any memories that you have stored in the hippocampus disappear. And everybody has experienced that.
Yeah.
And so if you are practicing in a way that stores skills in the hippocampus, you're not going to have them under stress. And so what you need to do is store them in better parts of the brain. The cerebellum back here.
Right.
And the motor cortex And that process takes about 6 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So you can learn knowledge at a firearms class.
Right.
You're not going to learn skill. You're not going to develop skill. You're going to learn about a skill,
right?
But it takes time and repetition to actually develop a skill.
As a guy who's a band teacher, I can certainly verify that.
Oh, yeah. And it...
Like, if you don't go home and work on this stuff, we're going to be doing it again next week.
Right.
You know, and you're going to go home and practice.
And if the speed is slow enough that you need to execute at, and the stress level is low enough, a lot of people can fake through it. Because they can think their way through using what they have stored in the hippocampus.
Yeah.
But the faster you go, the more automatic the skill has to be. And the higher the stress level, the more automatic the skill has to be. You can't go play at Carnegie Hall after picking up a flute the week before and expect to do very well.
This is true.
And you can't play Flight of the Bumblebees.
I can play the Flight of the Bumblebee with practice.
Yeah.
Wow. That's way cool.
But, so yeah, it's been neat.
Yeah.
And the latest thing we're doing is shooting on the move.
Shooting. All right, we're not going to talk about those yet. Shooting on the move.
Oh, we can.
Well, no, because you picked up your coffee.
Oh, I was going to take a drink.
All that stuff. So Mike has this really cool thing. He just gave me a little card of this. I experienced this last night talking. We were at an event, and it's. I'll have to get an image of this and share it, but it has different size fonts. And I was talking about getting old and losing my eyesight, and I blame it all on Steve Jobs. I really do.
Yep.
But
that's a fair assessment.
Right, I think it is. So anyway, you have a whole coffee cup with that stuff on it. Ooh. But yeah, we'll talk about that. So continue with where we were going.
Shooting on the move.
Yes, shooting on the move.
So for the most part, the skill of shooting on the move has been something that people either can do or they can't do. And the only way to get from A to B is brute force and a lot of repetition and a good bit of luck.
Right.
And even then, you look at pretty darn high-level shooters, they'll say you just really can't move very fast. You have to have a stable platform. You need to do heel-toe and
walk smooth.
All of this stuff. And here's what's happening. There's a few things. Number one, your shoulder has to stabilize the gun. Number two, your neck has to stabilize the eyes. And number three, when you're moving, your brain's chief concern is not hitting the ground.
Not hitting the ground?
Yeah.
So
not how well
tripping.
you shoot.
Make sure you don't fall.
Yeah. So what it's going to do is it's going to divert resources from vision to balance. However much is needed.
Yeah.
And what people see is their vision gets choppy. And so if you can improve vision, improve dynamic vision, or balance, if you can improve balance, first stationary with 2 feet, then 1 foot, and then dynamic balance, which is different than static balance, and balance at odd angles, so you're looking off to the side while your feet are pointed another direction, kind of like you would be when you're sprinting to cover and trying to engage a target. If you don't practice it, you're not going to be able to pull it out of a hat under stress.
Right.
Now all of a sudden, your brain's calm, your brain's happy, it's been here before, it knows it's not going to fall and hit the ground, and it lets you have more visual resources.
Wow.
And you can see smoother.
Yeah.
You can see the equivalent of more frames per second. You can pick up your sight while sprinting full speed laterally and actually make hits, consistent hits.
Wow. This is really cool stuff.
And yeah, there's nothing that exists like it today.
That is cool. Do you do this around the country? Do you?
Most of what I do is most of what I do is through online training and remote video coaching.
Wow, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, it lets me work with a lot more people, and it's way, way more efficient. Especially You look at the format of a traditional class, and you look at how the brain learns, it's relatively inefficient for developing a new skill. It's great for getting head knowledge that you can talk about at a party, but not for actually developing the skill. So a sequential small block training system that's 5-6 minutes a day is way more effective than a 1, 2, or 3 day class.
That's very cool. I went out to the Frontside Academy.
Yeah.
Bunch of years, 2004 I think it was, and I did a two-day defensive class. I've been a band teacher for a long time, and I always tell kids that the secret of playing fast is to practice slow. So of course one of the things they try to hammer home is the 5-step draw method, and slow is smooth and smooth is fast. And I came home from that and I'm like, wait a second, this is the same stuff I teach my band students. I'm like, I can teach band, I can teach gun stuff. It's the same, right? It's applying the same principles and the same sort of stuff. So, right, practice for 5 or 6 minutes, and then do that every day, and it's going to work.
Yeah, there's a few caveats on that are really important. One is we talked about the motor cortex and the cerebellum being the two of the biggest, most important parts of the brain. The number 3 would be the basal ganglia, but we won't get into that.
The what?
Basal ganglia.
Basal ganglia.
And nobody's ever heard of it, and it doesn't really do any good to talk about it because
nobody knows what it is.
Yep. Cerebellum people have heard of. Motor cortex people have heard of. But the cerebellum, its chief purpose is error correction. Okay. So if you're grinding out rep after rep after rep after rep after rep after rep of the exact same technique, to where you can zone off and think about something else, you're not engaging the cerebellum. You're not developing any new neural connections. You're not developing skill.
Right.
At first, when it's challenging and you have to pay attention to be able to do rep after rep after rep of the same thing, then it's engaged because it's correcting little micro errors every single time. Once you have the base skill figured out, you just absolutely have to add novelty and variety and challenge in order to engage the brain and learn at the ideal rate. And the difference is between 1.7 and 1.9 million additional neural connections per second. So it's
wow.
You can absolutely slash the amount of time it takes to learn something if you've got one person doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over again, and one person adding slight variety every 2 or 3 or 4 reps. And
you can do this all with the cards?
Well, I've got several programs.
Okay.
So I've got a dynamic gunfighter program called Praxis, draw stroke mastery, which gets people to sub-second draw strokes pretty consistently from open carry holster. For a lot of people, they can do it from concealed carry holster as well, in waistband under a shirt, not just under a fishing vest.
Photography vest.
Photography vest, yes.
Right, it's the same.
Yeah, which those are lightning fast.
Right.
And from 3 o'clock or behind the hip, not just from appendix. Because appendix, of course, is way easier to get fast hits on target.
It is, but with my particular body type, I call this extra retention. That's what it is. Appendix carry doesn't work for my particular body type.
I've seen a bumper sticker that says, "I'm not fat, I'm harder to kidnap."
Exactly. That's what it comes down to. That's what it comes down to, man. Too cool. So from 3 o'clock and what was the other one? Not from appendix.
3 o'clock and waistband under a shirt.
And waistband under a shirt. Cool, man. Cool.
And the goal isn't, the metric, the feedback that people use for this is time. Really what they're looking for is efficiency and consistency. Because if you force bad technique, you can be fast, but you're probably not going to be consistent and accurate. If you lay down a foundation of a consistent and efficient draw stroke, speed becomes a byproduct.
Slow is smooth and smooth is fast.
Eventually.
Eventually.
If you push it.
I like that, eventually.
If you push it.
Yeah.
If you're always slow and never push speed,
yeah,
you're probably not going to get too fast.
So do you have people work with a timer?
Yeah.
You do, okay.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah, par timers or with shot timers and airsoft and CO2 with shot max that'll actually pick it up.
Cool. That's awesome. What else? Tell us more about you. No, keep talking about this. We only got a few minutes left, and we're gonna.
Well, what questions do you have?
I don't even know. How did you? I think I told you last night. I had a friend of mine that asked me. I'm going to say a couple years ago. I liked the. I was getting a Facebook thing, and it said, the dry fire practice cards, and I'm like, that sounds pretty cool. So I clicked like, right. And then a friend of mine sent me a message like 2 months later. It's like, hey, I keep getting something on Facebook says you like these. Do they really work? I'm like, I don't know, man. I never tried it. I just liked them. I thought they sounded cool. You put a lot into this, like all the wiring stuff that goes on inside your head to make all this stuff happen, which is really cool.
I'm on track. It's one of those things. I don't know when it's going to happen, but on track to get the equivalent of PhD in performance neurology.
Wow.
And so, it has really become a passion of mine because I see the impact that it has. I'll give you an anecdote, a story from a class I did. So it was a few years ago, and at lunch I was speaking on vision balance and hand-eye coordination. And it just so happened it was a pretty high-dollar class, and all but one person was a doctor of some sort. And I was like, crap, I have no pedigree.
Right.
And these guys have paid to hear me talk about their profession.
That's a little nerve-wracking.
So I'm most of the way through it, and I run them through the visual and vestibular resets that I talked about, and there's a guy in the front row, and he's pissed. I'm just like almost shaking mad.
Wow.
And I'm like, all right, how do I want to handle this? So it looks like you've got a question. What are you thinking? It's like, I've had low back pain for the last 3 years, and I've been to every specialist in our system, and I'm scheduled for back surgery, and your stupid drills that shouldn't do a darn thing made the pain in my back go away.
Oh my gosh.
And so here's what happens. Your brain has, it's a concept of a threat bucket. So every threat that your brain faces, it puts into a bucket. It could be environmental, emotional, relational, financial, or sensory. And when that bucket level gets to a certain point, the brain says stop. And with a lot of vision problems, the way that the brain says stop is to create phantom pain to get you to stop moving, because dynamic vision is way more challenging than static vision.
Wow.
And so it's really, really common to do visual and vestibular drills and have ankle, knee, hip, back, and neck pain disappear. It doesn't fix a medical problem, because there wasn't a medical problem to start with. It was the brain just trying to figure out, how do I make this body stop?
Wow. And that worked for that doctor.
Yeah.
And he was just about to have a surgery.
Yeah.
Holy moly. That's pretty crazy.
And so that'll happen pretty darn regularly.
Can you put a doctor in front of your name soon?
No, actually, that's kind of interesting. From what I understand right now, Stanford has the neurology program that updates the most frequently, and it updates every 8 years.
Yeah.
And there are hundreds of new neurology studies coming out on a daily basis. So by the time they update their curriculum, they're 8 years behind on some things.
Wow.
So I'm part of a group of coaches and trainers that uses performance neurology with athletes and pro sports teams, and for rehab.
There's no U-turn, but we're taking one. Sorry.
No problem. And so we share information with each other.
Yeah.
And there's a curriculum of performance neurology classes that we go through.
There we go. Didn't know where the line was.
That's updating way quicker than any of the
textbooks.
I can't think of what it's called when not credentialed, authenticated. There's some word that universities have when they have their curriculum reviewed.
Okay, yeah. All right, I know what you mean. Wouldn't it be cool to be Dr. Ox instead of Dr. Oz?
There's a few dozen, but yeah.
I've got Dr. Ox on the show. No, it's Dr. Oz. No, Dr. Ox.
Yeah.
Too cool. All right, listen, we are almost where we need to be. We're going to wrap things up. Before I have you plug out your stuff, I want to thank Matt and Klint from Meet the Pressers. I'm going to put an image of this up. These guys let me use their rental car while we're here at the SHOT Show. How can people find all your stuff and all of your, you got a lot going on.
Yeah.
You get the training cards, and then you do the online training as well as classes around the country. Holy crap, man. How can people find you?
The easiest place is dryfiretrainingcards.com. And that's where you can get dry fire training cards. And
very cool.
DVD training program that goes with it called 21 Day Alpha Shooter. And then if you scroll down to the bottom of the page, there's a link to the blog. And that has the newest articles and videos that we've put out. Just put out one demonstrating shooting on the move at steel torso at just over 60 yards.
Very cool.
And so, yeah, that's the main place to find out stuff, and then everything kind of fans out from there. The draw stroke mastery, the dynamic gunfighter, tactical vision training, all of those programs.
Cool. We're gonna
linked from there.
We're gonna put links to all this stuff so that people can find it. I'm gonna close up my stuff again. Do we get it all?
That was great.
All your stuff.
Yeah, unless you get any other questions.
No, I got no more questions. Okay. This is awesome. I know you get somewhere to go. It's crazy here at the SHOT Show.
Yes, it is.
Anyway, check out Meet the Pressers. Matt and Klint are doing this stuff on Meet the Pressers. Check out Writing Shotgun with Charlie on YouTube, on Gunstreamer, on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio. We are trying to take the Stagecoach across America. So you need to like and share and subscribe and get all this stuff out. Please do not forget to check out the Self-Defense Radio Network at sdrn.us. And this has been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Charlie.
What I like about what I do is it's just not just people that are instructors. It's like you're way more smarter than I. That's not even a right sentence, I don't think.
No, you know what? Everybody's got a certain amount of time. And the best analogy I heard was there's Tibetan monks that can sit in a freezing cold room and cause steam to come off of a towel. They've spent years mastering that skill, and they cannot go out in public and have a conversation with someone.
We all have our thing.
Exactly.
There we go.
It's not a smarter thing as much as I have just dove way deep down a specific rabbit hole.
Right, because it affects you.
Yeah.
That's why I get into it. Oh, let's talk about this real quick.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. Yeah.
So how can people find these?
At tacticalvisiontraining.com.
Tacticalvisiontraining.com. Because what it is it's a sentence in different size fonts. He's got this on his coffee mug, and he's got it on the little biz card here as well. Yeah, show them the mug. Oh, and it made me realize
they liked it too.
I know, right? How's it going? Everyone looks at me weird. I don't know why. We got 4 cameras in the car. Why do people look at us weird? Doesn't everybody do this? Anyway, it made me realize that I'm fighting the fact that I might need cheaters, but I'm fighting it and fighting it and fighting it. So
Yeah.
forget that.
Keep up the good fight.
That's what I can do.
You can beat it.
I think so. It's all in my head.
It's really, really common. Everybody's eyes are different, so there's no one-size-fits-all solution.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really, really common for people to drop 2 font sizes in a week or 2 just by doing those drills.
Wow.
And
all right, I'm going to check it out.
That can mean blurry front sight versus clear front sight for a lot of people. It can mean having to use cheaters to choosing to use cheaters.
I'm fighting it. I got a friend, and his wife's like, use the cheaters, and he's like, don't. Once you start using them, you're done. So I'm gonna turn him onto this. We're gonna fight it with his wife.
Good deal.
All right, cool. We'll see you guys next time on Riding Shotgun with Charlie.